Hey there, happy day 922 of What You Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, talking about my journey from the offline brick and mortar world, corporate world, to the online world of business. And I've been talking about it for a couple of years now, 922 days. And I guess that's almost 3 years, right? Closer to 3 than it is 2. But a lot of people with COVID-19 are finding that it's a really important topic for them. How do they take what they've been doing offline that's now totally been impacted by the pandemic and make it virtual, make at least parts of it virtual to continue moving forward until the world goes back to normal, as if the world's going to go back to the way it was 100% before. I don't think that's going to happen. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I predict that there will be massive changes in our world that impact us for decades, for forever, right? Because that's what happens whenever there's a massive global change. And this is definitely a massive global change. So solution focused is what I called this today, because I'm thinking about solutions and versus problems. Now, to most people, the pandemic is one big pain in the butt problem. But as long as we're focusing on that, as long as we're focusing on the problem, guess what? We're stuck there. We're stuck in the problem. It's like focusing on the past. If you're focusing on the past and thinking about the past all the time, you're not living in the current moment, and you're certainly not planning and creating your future. It's the same with problems. If you're focusing on the problems and the things that aren't right and the things that you can't do in the world, in your life right now, guess what? You're just stuck there. You keep getting more and more and more of that, and you can't move forward, and you can't bust out of that until you change your mind and say, okay, focusing on the past, focusing on the problem isn't serving me. It's not working out for me. It's not moving my life in a happy direction where I want it to go. What am I going to do about it? Well, we're going to flip it. We're going to flip the switch, and we're going to shut down. Once we identify what the problem is in our mind and in our life and in our situation, that's all we have to do. We have to switch then, flip switch immediately from the focus on the problem to the focus on solutions and possible ideas and creative ways of getting out of that and solving that particular problem. That's how mankind makes advances and steps, is we are solution focused. We are possibility thinkers. We're not living in the past. We're not dwelling on, well, some people are, but guess what? They're stuck, and they're only stuck there because they want to claim power over other people in some way. How productive is that? Pretty much a waste of time. Although if they've got short-term focus and they just want power in this lifetime, that's what they're going for. So today's idiom for Supersize Your Business was about rubbing elbows with someone. And how do you do that in situations like we have right now? Rubbing elbows with someone infers being in close physical proximity to them. Well, during COVID-19, we're not doing that. So we talked about how do you do that? Because guess what? We're solution focused. There's tons of ways, but there's a whole lot of people and a whole lot of businesses that have shut down and are dying and are closing and shuttering up because they're focusing on the problem. They're focusing on, this is how I do business. This is how I've always done business. I don't know what to do because the government shut me down. Therefore, I'm just out of business. I haven't had any income for a couple of months, and so now I'm bankrupt and I'm out of business. Instead of, like so many other creative entrepreneurs and business owners have said, all right, people can't come into my restaurant anymore. How can I continue to serve them? How can I continue to serve people that still need to eat, still need food, still can't cook and want it prepared for them? How can I serve them? And guess what? When you ask that question, all kinds of possibilities open up for you. Have you ever done it before? Maybe not. Maybe you've never had curbside delivery. Maybe you've never had people phone in orders. Maybe you've never had an online way for people to order your products and services. But guess what? You can figure that out in a couple of days and make it happen. And you just start doing it, right? You just start doing it. Is it going to be perfect the first time you try or take a step forward toward it? Yeah, probably not. But how many things in your life have really, you just perfectly did them the first time you ever attempted? Pretty much zero. Very few people start out walking, right? You're not born walking, you're not born talking, you're not born doing hardly anything, right? Except the core baby functions that we all can do. You know, you can breathe, you can eat, you can poop, that's about it. And sleep, right? And cry. So everything else we learn along the way. And dealing with challenges and changes and pandemics and COVID and external situations, we just figure it out. We are an extremely resilient species, and we figure it out. And we figure it out so that it doesn't hurt other people, by the way. You can figure it out to hurt other people, but that's going to not serve you very well either, because someday you're going to have to answer for it. So talking about solutions, focusing on solutions, and it's really interesting. There's a feeling of lightness that comes over me, at least, the minute I stop thinking about the problem and I start opening myself up to solutions and what I'm going to do about it and other possibilities. It's like the whole weight of the world lifts off my shoulders, and I go from being that negative problem, past focus, to the positive possibility, and realizing that anything is possible. And maybe I don't see the solution, but if I'm open to it, other people will see it, and then I'll see something that leads me to something that leads me to someone that has the solution to the problem that I need, or has solved that problem before, maybe in a different industry, maybe in a different way, maybe using a different technology. But until I'm open to possibilities, I won't even see those. They could be right in front of my face. My son could tell me about it, my daughter could tell me about it, the ex could tell me about it, my mom, even my sisters could tell me about it, and I still wouldn't see it if I wasn't open to the possibility of a solution. If I think that there's no hope and there's no possible way out of a situation, I will just sit there and curl up and die. Well, I personally won't, but a lot of people will. Versus the solution can be right in front of me, and I won't even. We have a reticular activating system, and our brain won't even allow us to see it until we decide, hey, I'm gonna figure this out, and know that we're going to figure it out. We always, you're alive, right? You've survived absolutely everything that's ever been thrown at you so far. And we'll all figure this out, and we'll all survive this too. This and anything else that comes our way. Because guess what? This will not be our last rodeo. This will not be our last challenge in our life. If we think it is, we're in big trouble, right? Because there's always going to be something. There's always going to be things that come up in our life that test us and see what we're made of, and see what's important to us, and help us set our priorities. It's just it's a human condition. That's the nature of life on this planet. And so we can accept it, or we can just say, I don't like this, I'm not going to deal with it, and then deal with the consequences. And there's consequences of not doing anything, just like there's consequences of every action and every thought that we take, everything we do, everything we think, everything we do, everything we believe impacts our life. So the fun challenge today was about the color that we hate, a color that we hate, and we had to take a picture that we drew yesterday in our favorite color, and today we're supposed to color it in our least favorite color, or the color that we hate. So that was kind of a fun one. I will admit that the fun challenge is the only one that sometimes I forget to do. I always do my challenges right along with people, like I'm doing the Get Up and Go challenge. So whatever I challenge people to do, I do that too, because I want the experience. I want to know what it feels like to do the things that I'm asking people to do. I don't believe you should ever ask anybody to do anything that you're not willing to do yourself. So if you're teaching people how to do something that you've never done, I'm going to say that's not fake it till you make it. That's lying and deceiving people. It's one thing to present yourself as, I'm a lecturer, I'm a teacher, I learned this material and I'm regurgitating it and teaching it to you. And there's another thing to actually have learned something and done it, and then be teaching and sharing your experience with other people. Two entirely different things. And both have their place, but there's, at least I found online, there's so much of the fake, artificial, I just want to make money quickly bullshit that it kind of turns your stomach. So you got to be on the lookout for that. But there's also a lot of really cool, amazing people that are here to teach you whatever it is you need to know, and share their wisdom and knowledge with you. So I guess we get what we expect. We look for and we see what we want to see anywhere in the world, but especially online. I've noticed that it's almost magnified, and as more and more people are going online, you just have to make sure you've got your intuition filters turned on. Working on adding some interviews to my podcast. Haven't done interviews for a while. I kind of do them and then I don't do them, then I do them and then I don't do them, depending on what kind of a project I'm working on. So I've decided I'm going to add challenge interviews with people that have handled incredible challenges in their life and are here to tell the story about it, because it's amazing. We forget that every human being that's alive right now has faced thousands and thousands of challenges in their life, and they've overcome and survived every single one up until this point. I think that's why I'm so attracted to challenges, because we already know how to do it. We already know how to survive and how to live and how to face and overcome challenges in our lives. But we act like we don't. We act like we need somebody to tell us what to do all the time. And I'm like, I don't understand how we got inundated into that belief system that we need other people to think for us and tell us what to do, because that isn't the way humans have been for most of our existence. It's just been the last, industrialized era that has caused us to believe that we need to be sheep and we need to be led and we need to be governed and told what to do. All right, I'm getting off on a tangent. Have an absolutely amazing day. If I can help you in any way, hit me up in the comments below. I'm mad at myself because I went 12 seconds over on my Get Up and Go challenge today. Trying to keep it 10 minutes or less, and I went 12 seconds over, so I have to decide if I want to find a way to cut 12 seconds off it or just leave it and apologize to everybody and say, I went 12 seconds over, talking too much on today's challenge lesson. But that's what I'm working on. I've got the 30-day challenge going on. Got a bunch of other things that I'm doing, a couple courses that I'm taking, because I love to be continually learning and growing too, so that I can serve the people that I work with better. Plus, it's fun. Learning is fun for me. And I'm thinking about solution focus and how incredibly important it is that we stay solution focused. And once, like I said, once you find the root cause and you address the problem, boom, immediately go to solutions. And really, until you find the root cause of the problem, everything else you're doing is just band-aids and temporary fixes. Which is kind of like what our handling of COVID is, right? Everything we're doing is just band-aids until we figure out the permanent solution for COVID-19. And it would be really awesome if we knew more about it, where it came from, how it was created, and the origin and the root cause of it. That would make it much faster and easier to solve, but nobody's going to be telling anybody that, because it's a big controversy and secret, which means it was done on purpose. That's at least my theory. Anyway, have an awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. Sharon L.